Hey, what's going on, chiropractors and chiropractic students? Man, if you can learn this one early as a student, you are really ahead of the curve when it comes to adjusting mistakes. So the top 3 adjusting mistakes that we see all the time in a pediatric, prenatal, and family practice. I thought about really titling this one and just talking about pediatric adjusting, but then right before I went on here, I realized, you know what? In today's family practice, we know this. It's not good, but it's real. Moms, dads, pregnant moms, everybody is more stressed out, more subluxated, more sympathetic dominant than ever before. And it's going to blend us right into mistakes number 1 and number 2. The more stressed and the more wound up and stuck in fight or flight, parasympathetic exhaustion, vagal nerve tone exhaustion they are, the less when it comes to adjusting per visit they need from you. So let's go into this. I'm going to switch over here so you can see my little whiteboard action here. The number 1 mistake we make in a family practice in sympathetic dominant wound up patients adjusting is we do too many adjustments, too many segments, however you want to kind of split the hairs on this one. All the way back 100 years ago, Dr. Stevenson and the Dr. Palmers knew about this, and they called it the shotgun method. Method of adjusting. You probably know it as the flying 7. It's just flat out making too many adjustments. Now, to put an asterisk on this one, especially early on in the care plan, you got to back all the way off. If you have not taken a tonal seminar, then you maybe have really missed out on this point. But really what I love about all the different tonal seminars, Talski, TRT, MC2, is they all teach us this real, true, neurologically focused adjusting foundation, which says less is more. And it's super true. Less is more when it comes to adjusting kids and families who are more wound up. Now, that's a conundrum for us to all get through because on the surface, it seems the opposite. The more tight they are, the more wound up they are, the more you think you got to blast through it, stretch through it, add to it, right? Get them on the roller table, get them over here, blast this one, go that way, mid-thoracic, lumbar, sacrum, right? You know, having fun with that one. And the truth is, the more you, in Stevenson, it says, the more you scatter the repertory materials, so that's how they would have said it 100 years ago, the more you overdo the system that is already exhausted. That's how I like to think of this one and adhere to this one. Even though I'm a raging bull and I can't wait to see our patients get better, the number 1 thing I need to hold myself and our doc team to is to do less, not more, in order to do just that. Get them better faster. And again, on the surface, you would think the more that I do, the more adjustments, and you could even bring this conversation into like, the more I'm going to work on their primitive reflexes, or the more I'm going to get into nutrition and all these other sort of things early on, the more I'm going to help them, right? Well, what you got to know about subluxation is subluxation creates confusion, incoordination, and exhaustion within the central nervous system. The nervous system is the system you're trying to tap into to make the healing happen. You're tapping into a very exhausted, very dysfunctional nervous system, so it can only handle so much, good, bad, or anything in between. So even though your adjustments are good, they're gooder, not good English there, they're going to be better clinical results the less you do, especially early. Now, number 2 is I'm just going to write it on there. We wuss out on the care plan. Okay, that's really the second, and you're like, wait a minute, is this an adjusting tip? Well, the best adjusters come from the best care plan. Miracles don't happen from a singular adjustment. Miracles happen from adjustments, plural, with the right frequency and the right duration in a care plan. This is where clinical wizardry really kicks in, is in the art of care planning. I think if we had to put them toe-to-toe, we don't. We need to be a wizard. We need to be a master at both. Analysis, case management, care planning, and the endpoint adjusting. But if I had to, for the sake of argument, to put the two against each other and say, would I rather have a pediatric chiropractor be a better care planner than an adjuster? I know, it may sound blasphemous, but you know what? A full, proper, amazing care plan allows the accumulation of those healing repertory forces. It allows the aggregation of healing to happen with the right neuroplasticity, time, and frequency to then end up with healing. Even if someone is using a mat, if they're a 91 on the adjusting scale where somebody else is a 98, the contrast of that, if this high-end adjuster wusses out on the care plan, they're going to get less results. That's just how neurology works. It works that way, so we work that way. Now, these two problems in this video, they work into each other. You're going to be much more likely to make mistake number one if you started off by making mistake number two by doing, this is how I was taught to care plan, let's start 2-3 times a week and see how it goes. The see how it goes care plan needs to be outlawed. You got to really know what you're doing with the care plan. And as long as you've given yourself enough time and frequency, you then have the ability to back off and not do too many adjustments per visit. And number three splits two ways depending on your technique and your training and how you roll. You're adding either too much or too little. I'm going to use a Tony word here, oomph. Now, this is where I love, this is, we get into this for hours at our neurotonal seminar that we do in conjunction with our CERT program and Life University. And the reason it can sometimes take hours to really get someone over the hump with this one is because the answer actually is we need both. In our adjusting toolkit for kids and families and for every patient, we need to know when to bring the sledgehammer and when to barely bring it at all. We need to know when to do a toggle, an integrator through the finger, a sustained contact, a just really light touch, soft touch, unwinding, unraveling, take it easy, perfectly neurologically stimulating adjustment. And then there's other cases, different kids, and even different times during the care plan that we got to get after. And you got to make an HVLA adjustment, yes, with kids, and get the subluxation annihilated. That's just how this works. And there's not a magic, that's something, strike that from this video's record. There's a very scientific formula and framework that we teach that allows us to know which technique, or in this case, kind of this analogy I'm teaching from, which tool, when, and where. So that's what it really comes down to is the real, I will save this for another video, the magic formula and framework, and that's why it takes 20 hours at the seminar. Actually, it's 60 hours online in the Certificate of Proficiency course with Life University and the Pediatric Experience. 60 hours to get ready for the 20 hours that we teach in person. But what we're teaching is really the art of care planning and case management first. And then if you bring the care plan to life and you think about how it's actually going to play out visit by visit, what we've got to figure out is the two biggest things are, where am I going to adjust? So what is the primary? What is the major? Where am I not on this visit? So where am I, where not? It's kind of the same question. And then number two, which tool am I going to use? So what's the primary and what direction, what tool am I going to choose from my technique toolkit to make that adjustment for that case? Every kid has different answers based upon their subluxation patterns and the examination and the analysis you've done starting out and then you do on the table each side. But as a general rule, even when you get to before you get to that stuff, you just got to commit to less is more when it comes to per visit adjusting. More is more frequency, more duration when it comes to care planning. And then the third thing is really where the seminar that we teach goes deep and it says, okay, on this visit, am I going after it or am I backing off of it? And when you really figure out all of these things, you become a true pediatric and family chiropractic clinical master. And I will close this video with this. That is our responsibility. These parents are bringing their entire world to us, their child, our children. I got 4 kids. They are my entire world. And they're literally putting them in your hands. So you need to not sort of a little bit know what you're doing. You got to know what you're doing from the very beginning of how clinical care starts with choosing the right care plan and managing the case appropriately to the day-to-day, visit-to-visit where you're saying, okay, how much or not how much am I going to adjust? Exactly where, what's the primary and the major I'm going to adjust, and what technique, what tool am I going to use to adjust? What's really cool, even if you were to go back through and unpack this whole video, we're only working through 2s and 3s. So we've created an incredible, what we call PX framework for care planning, and we have a PX care plan builder that we teach in the seminar. We have a PX 5-step neurotonal assessment that we do on the table every single visit, every doc, and it's a really fast, efficient, easy, organized framework to allow for neurotonal adjusting, following these principles and these rules. And we teach it at the seminar, and the seminar is open to everyone. If you have any questions about it, just simply ask below or reach out to me or the team on direct message. We are here for you to train you, teach you, resource you, equip you to be a master of pediatric chiropractic, because when we get you there, we then get to do our mission, vision, and work through you to the kids and families in your community, which is what we do every video, every seminar, every course, everything for all the time. We love you because you love what we do and what we love. Get after it. As always, I'm going to work on getting better at it tomorrow too. I hope you work to getting better at it, and I hope this video helped you do just that. God bless. Be well. See you on the next one.